This show has been brought to you by Smith's Detection and the National Air Traffic Controllers Association.
My voice is the voice that guides you home safely each and every day.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
I am the voice of the safest and most efficient airspace in the world.
I have to be 100% of the time.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a professional air traffic controller.
Hello, I'm Scott Brockman, President and CEO of the Memphis Shelby County Airport Authority and Chairman of the American Association of Airport Executives. It is my pleasure to welcome you into the AAAE studio today as we discuss a very important issue relevant to airports of all sizes, whether large, medium, small, or general aviation. That's the pilot shortage. Our aviation system has already experienced airports that have lost all commercial passenger service, and our local, regional, and national economy could sustain significant negative impacts in the very near future. With me today is Jack Hellie with Air Service America. Jack, thanks for joining me. Please take a moment and let our viewers know about Air Service America and its mission and vision.
Well, Scott, thanks for having us here in the studio with you today. And the mission of Air Service America really is to educate and engage communities about the pilot shortage and the effects that it will have on their livelihoods. As you mentioned, airports have lost commercial service across the country because of this issue, and it will continue to grow and get increasingly worse as time goes on if we don't do anything about it. And Air Service America wants to really take the issue and the effects and its impacts and tell communities about it, whether it's chambers of commerce, economic development groups, visitor convention bureaus, the people in the communities that will feel the effects of this.
So just in your mind, just how serious could this issue become?
It's a big deal, and it's bad today, and it's just going to get worse. There's in the coming years, roughly 42% of pilots at the biggest airlines will be forced to retire because of the age 65 rule. That's by law, you can't be a commercial pilot after age 65. And there's a lot of pilots in America that are reaching that point, and there's just not enough to fill the empty seats they'll leave.
So while this issue may impact smaller communities initially, obviously the impacts will roll up and larger communities, and especially hub airports, will also experience issues related to this.
Yes.
It is, many of our nation's hub airports are going through significant expansion. They're growing their terminals, they're growing their concourses, they're spending a lot of money in order to continually accept the growth. But when this issue, the pilot shortage, does impact the smaller communities, obviously there will be an impact on the large communities, because what is a hub without a spoke?
Exactly.
And if there are not smaller airports feeding the hub, then many of these dollars that are being spent today on these expansions may be wasted. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, without a spoke, what's a hub? And the hub and spoke model entirely relies on these smaller airports in small and medium-sized cities across the country as well. It's not just the small community airports in the furthest corners of the Southwest or the Midwest or the East Coast or the Northeast. It's communities of all sizes from coast to coast. And if they begin to feel the effects of this, if there's a reduction in departures, as there have been at countless airports across the country, it will have a chain reaction, and the biggest airports will feel it as well.
So this latest legislative cycle, we actually got a little bit of positive movement with
Yes.
an amendment that was offered by Senator Thune. What are your thoughts about that amendment, and just how important was that?
Senator Thune's amendment, which would have provided, which would hopefully provide for alternative pathways for pilots to gain hours toward their 1,500 minimum flight hours that are required in order to get their ATP license. It would allow for them to earn those hours while in structured training environments that might be provided for and paid for by airlines. And that's a great start. That's something that we do need and that we could have used a few years ago, but in the long term, that's not going to be enough. Something really has to change, and communities need to be aware of this. And they are voices that are really important, and that's part of what Air Service America wants to do, is help provide a platform for communities' voices to be heard and have sort of a unified front on this issue from communities, and that includes airports and your members, as well as chambers of commerce and other voices and leaders within communities that can say, hey, this is a big problem and something needs to happen.
So really then our ask is for airport directors, for those that are engaged in our aviation system, for them to partner with us to get this message out, to reach out to their local mayors, their local chambers of commerce, even their governor, if that's the case, city councils, business leaders, whatever is appropriate for their community, for them to reach out to them and educate them on the impacts that are coming down the way. They may not have experienced them today, and they may not believe that it's going to happen. So we need to educate them on what the real issue could be and how that could affect their ability to grow their economy. In Memphis, we talk about connectivity in terms of what we call global currency. And that's because of our FedEx World headquarters. But that's appropriate for all communities because connectivity
Absolutely.
allows them to interact in ever-increasing circles with the world.
Yes.
And so it is truly important for every community to engage in this, no matter how large or how small, because their economic growth in the future could be impacted. Your thoughts?
Yes, the success of an airport is the success of the community, and that connectivity is so important. And it's about being chosen for a company or plant relocation or location, attracting new business, retaining new business, and also access to medical care. All of these things come as well as leisure travel and a flight to see family or go on vacation. There's so much that goes with it, and it's really important. And there's a lot of communities at risk today of losing or seeing a great reduction in the number of flights they have leaving from their airports.
Well, and I think that's one of the great things about aviation is aviation provides that conduit
Yes.
for so many things, whether it's economic development or medical or all of those things. So as we wrap up this segment, I want to make it perfectly clear that while our focus is on aviation impacts within North America, this is a global issue as evidenced by recent reports from countries around the world, from Australia to Japan to South America to Europe, where they're offering free tuition, they're offering bonuses. This one will affect every region on the globe. I thank you very much for joining us today, and please join our efforts to educate and move the powers to be to initiate efforts to mitigate this problem before it's too late. Thank you very much.